Good evening, students. So, how are you guys? Good evening, Muhammad Disha, Manoj Thakur, Singh, Rajiv Kumar, Shazia, and all others. Bhumika, Log Sundar. So, students, we are into the final part of this chapter, chapter number 2. That is audit strategy, audit planning, and audit program. So we have already learnt about audit strategy. We have already learnt about audit plan. And we have learnt about the planning process. About the planning process. What are the benefits of planning process to an auditor? What does it include? These things. Now we shall be coming to audit program. What do we mean by audit program? What are its benefits? What are its drawbacks or disadvantages? And whether what are so-called disadvantages, whether these can be overcome? Whether these can be overcome? We shall also be studying, we shall also be trying to see how does an audit program look like. And besides that, we shall be learning about essay 320. That is materiality in planning and performing an audit. So far, we have discussed about essay 300, which relates to planning an audit of financial statements. Now today, besides learning audit program, besides learning contents of audit program, what does it include? What is its purpose? What are its benefits? What are its so-called disadvantages? We shall also be learning about essay 320, which relates to materiality. What do we mean by materiality? What is its significance? What are the different aspects of materiality? What are different connotations of materiality? How do we determine materiality? What do we mean by benchmarks by which materiality is determined? So all these things we shall be learning today. Okay. So is that clear? So guys, also tell me, have you read your chapter 1 and part of chapter 2, which we have done on Saturday? So, or have you at least read chapter 1? Yes. Tell me guys, waiting for your responses. Have you read chapter 1? So are you able to understand from module? Have you been able to understand from module? Have you been able to correlate the things which you learned from the lecture with what is written in your module? Have you attempted some back exercises independently? Yes. Were you able to do back exercises successfully to some extent? Yes, tell me. Honestly, honest answer. Like correct, incorrect, which are given at the end of the chapter. Did you try to attempt independently without referencing, without having any reference to answers, and then cross-check it whether your answers were correct or incorrect? Yes, tell me how was your experience? Students, tell me how was your experience about understanding chapter 1? How was your experience? Yes, Ketan is writing, try to attempt but failed again. Ketan, improve yourself, improve your understanding. Yes, Love is saying some questions are confusing. Yes, but module is understandable. So that is the foremost, that is a basic requirement. That if you are able to make a basic understanding, then it is the process of reading again, correlating the things and analyzing the things and applying those things. Okay. Yes, Darshan, don't get disheartened if you were able to do some questions wrongly. Point is, you made an honest attempt with whatever knowledge you had to attempt the question. Now that should be the spirit, that is commendable. Yes, as far as writing is concerned, this comes only with practice. Say as you move in the syllabus, like I have already told you that you would be having certain words, phrases, sentences which are used in auditing extensively, like you must have seen in respect of transactions, accounts, balances, and disclosures. So these three words come at many times. So at all the assertions in financial statements relate to uh, transactions, okay, account balances which are finally appearing in the balance sheet, and disclosures what are there by way of uh, disclosure of information by management. Okay. Yes, Ketan, incorrect type of question. It is sufficient if you write even 2 lines, that is sufficient. Or if the reason is long enough, you can write 3-4 lines, that's all. But length is not the criteria. The point is that your reasoning should be correct. Okay, if you are able to state your reasoning within 2 lines, it's fine enough. So the reasoning should be that which is appropriate, which is expected from that question. Okay. So now we come to audit program. So what is an audit program, students? So an audit program consists of a series of verification procedures to be applied to financial statements of a company, to the accounts of a company, for the purpose of obtaining evidence so that auditor can form his opinion. So look, the auditor has set up a strategy. He has also made a plan. Okay, he has included what type of planned procedures he would undertake, what kind of planned risk assessment procedures he would undertake, what planned procedures he would undertake to uh, for verification of controls. Okay, what procedures he has planned for detailed checking. He has planned now all these things. So audit program is this now. After audit plan, there is audit program. Now audit program actually provides the steps which have to be looked into, which have to be verified during the course of the audit by the engagement team members. So what does the team get by applying those steps? The team tries to get audit evidence by applying those steps. So therefore herein lies the importance of audit program, significance of audit program. Say it might be written in audit program like verify sales bills for the month of January 2023. Okay, or verify sale bills from say 20th March 23 to 31st March 23. Okay, so these are actual steps which are to be taken. So when the auditor, when the team members carry out those steps, when the team members perform those steps, so they obtain audit evidence. Okay, so we had learned on Saturday that what is audit evidence? Audit evidence is information obtained by the auditor to arrive at the conclusions which helps in forming an opinion. Okay, so whatever information is obtained by the auditor by performing audit procedures is audit evidence. And where are the required procedures which are to be performed? These are stated. Where are these stated? These are chalked out in the audit program relating to different aspects of the entity, different aspects of the company. Like part of the audit program would be relating to sales, part of it would relate to purchases, part of it would relate to other significant expenses. Okay, similarly part of it would relate to trade payables, how these are to be verified. Part of it would relate to trade receivables, part of it would be relating to trade payables, and to all other items of financial statements. So whatever the auditor has planned, basically audit program tries to put those things into the operation. Okay. Okay, yes, you can say that. So audit program consists of a series of verification procedures. So it is not one verification procedure, it is a series of verification procedures, because it relates to all the things which have to be verified, which have to be checked, to be applied to the financial statements and accounts of a given company or entity for the purpose. What is the purpose of it? For the purpose of obtaining sufficient evidence to enable the auditor to express an informed opinion on financial statements. Okay. So who is saying? Darshan, I think you are saying that you have found chapter 2. No, Sayyad, you are found that chapter 2 is interesting than chapter 1. Sayyad, you have to understand that first of all, I would request you not to make some chapters your favorites and others not to favorite. And you have also to understand that chapter 1 consists of certain basic things, basic fundas, without which you cannot understand the subject of auditing. So chapter 1 is very, very important. Sometimes you happen to write some answers in the exams, then you would be requiring some basic fundamental knowledge. Now such knowledge in many cases would flow from chapter 1. Okay, so you should not undermine the importance of any chapter. Okay. Yes, Himanshu, you can say that. So audit program is a detailed plan of applying the audit procedures with the instructions. So it is prepared by the auditor, and what is its purpose? Its purpose is to accomplish audit objectives to obtain audit evidence. Now, next important question comes here, whether it is possible to evolve a single audit program, one audit program for every concern. Yes, yes, guys, what is your opinion? Without going through module, without going through contents of module, just tell from your basic common sense whether we can have a standard audit program for all companies, whether it is possible to have a standard audit program for all companies, for all entities. Is it possible? Yes, tell me. Tell me, guys, whether it is possible. Yes, no. Why not? Why not? Yes, now comes the pertinent question, why not? Yes, Ayush Dwivedi, you are saying rightly. There are different situations and there are different circumstances. No two situations are same. The companies may be having different businesses. Okay, they may be governed by different laws. Okay, they may be having different types of constitutions. Like Himanshu is writing, they have different activities. Yes, so they might have different size also. Some companies may be so big, some may be small, some may be medium size. So how can you have an audit program? You cannot have a size, one size that fits for all. Okay, टी-शर्ट का size होता है ना students, free size. There is one free size which fits for all, for everybody. So there is no such audit program which fits for all. Okay. So businesses vary in nature, size, and composition. Work which is suitable to one business may not be suitable to others. And internal control system might be different for different organization. एक कंपनी का बिजनेस अलग टाइप का है तो उसने अपने लिए अलग टाइप के चेक्स और बैलेंसेस लगाए हुए हैं, उसके लिए अलग टाइप का इंटरनल कंट्रोल है, दूसरी कंपनी के लिए अलग टाइप का इंटरनल कंट्रोल है. सो हाउ यू कैन हैव द सेम अप्रोच for how you can have same audit program for all the companies. Okay, so therefore on account of such variations, evolving one audit program applicable to all businesses under all circumstances is not practicable. Okay, so that you have to keep in mind. However, it becomes a necessity to specify in detail in the audit program the nature of work to be done, so that no time will be wasted on matters not pertaining to engagement or any matter is not omitted. Say guys, the audit program should be such that that it takes care of all aspects. Okay, but it should not also include matters which are not concerned with the scope of audit. Okay, so it should not include the matters which may entail wastage of the precious time of auditors. Okay, so this has to be kept in mind. These considerations have to be kept in mind while framing audit program. Okay. No, Ramchandra, audit program, oh sorry, audit strategy and audit plan, these also cannot be same for every entity. Say, look, audit strategy and audit plan, these are dependent upon the upon the business of that entity or company. So, can two entities have do two entities have same kind of business? No. Even if they are operating within the same line of activity, they might have different internal control systems. They might have different requirements. They might have um, different subtle variations. Okay, so audit strategy, audit plan, these are different for different companies. What we are learning, what we are trying to understand, that generally what does an audit plan include? Okay, and now we are learning what does an audit program include broadly. Okay, similarly, we have learned how audit strategy is to be established. What points generally have to be kept into consideration while establishing audit strategy. Now, these might differ from one business to another. Some points which are applicable to one business may not be applicable to that business. So, what would be point in highlighting those points there? It would be sheer wastage of time. Okay, so the another important thing regarding audit program is that although it is formed by the auditor, although it is formed by the principal, but you have to understand that audit program uh, is not rigid. Say I have formulated an audit program. I have formed an audit program for audit of a company and given to my staff. Okay, assume that. Now, if say uh, the team members, the engagement team goes for the audit of that company and they find something which is not there in the audit program, but in their opinion that appears to be significant. Say for example, you take the example of say scrap. Say the team has gone to the company for auditing, and that company is engaged in say manufacturing of say blankets, okay, or fabrics. And the team notes that there is considerable scrap generated during the manufacturing process, but there are no worthwhile instructions in the audit program how to verify the scrap, or what are the audit procedures prescribed, because the audit program is silent on the scrap. Say I overlooked this aspect, it didn't come to my mind, or I made a mistake and I did not include procedures relating to verification of scrap in the audit program. So what should the team members, what should the assistants do? Should they bring the matter to my knowledge, should they bring the matter to me that this has been overlooked, or they should say that this is not there in the audit program, so we are not going to verify it. Now, which approach should they take? Tell me, guys. Which approach should they take? Or if there is something in the audit program which requires them to verify some aspect, and the team comes to know that this aspect is not relevant during the year for which audit is being conducted. So should they bring this information to me? Should they bring this information to my knowledge? Yes. Yes, Logasundar, Himanshu, you are saying right. Yes, they should inform me. So that is why we say that while performing an audit, the assistants have to keep an open mind. Okay? Open mind. So if say they find something which is irrelevant, they should inform. If they find something which is not there but which should have been there in the audit program, and then they should also keep an open mind and give their relevant suggestions. Although it would be for me to take a final call what is relevant or what is not relevant, but they should give relevant and constructive suggestions. Okay. So as experience is gained by actually carrying out the work, the program may be altered to take care of the situations which were left out originally but found relevant for the particular concern. So it is not that that audit program is mechanical. Once formed, it cannot be changed. If required, it can be changed, it can be altered. Okay. Similarly, if any work originally provided for proves beyond doubt to be irrelevant or unnecessary, it may be dropped. That I have already explained. The assistant engaged in the job should be encouraged to keep an open mind. Okay, he should be instructed to report significant matters coming to his notice to his seniors or partner of the firm engaged for doing the audit. So fairly simple. So again, this point is also connected to previous point, periodic review of the audit program. Now, say again, I give you an example. Say I am auditor of a company for last 3 years. I have formed an audit program in first year when I accepted the engagement. Now the same program was used for second year, and I am also planning to make use of it in third year. But say in third year, there might be some changes in the business situation of the company, like the company might have started some another line of product, or some business might have been acquired by the company. Okay, so these kind of things. Yes, audit program has to be documented. It is a written document. So since it is a written document, I will show you, Darshan, I will show you how does a practical audit program look like. Okay. So periodic review of the audit program. So he should review the audit program. So whatever the information has been gained as the audit progresses, So the audit program should be reviewed from time to time. Okay. Otherwise, what would happen, guys? Otherwise, the auditor may give an inappropriate opinion. Ultimately, guys, we shall come to that outcome. It may lead to the situation where auditor gives an inappropriate opinion because audit risk has increased. He has not incorporated necessary things in the audit program which were required to be incorporated, and he failed to carry out certain audit procedures which were required, which were expected of him. So, so in that case, there would be misstatements in the financial statements. So he might signing a balance sheet which consists of material misstatements, and his opinion in such circumstances might be inappropriate. Okay, and he might have to face music from regulators in this regard. Okay, is that clear? Yes, students. So same thing is there. It is explained that it should be updated. Audit program needs to be updated regularly. Okay, but it can only be changed by the principal. Principal means the auditor. So they should bring to the light their observations, what they found during the course of audit, but final right, final duty, final responsibility, it rests with the principal. Okay, so the audit program should be kept up to date. It should be updated, and suggestions of assistants who are actually doing the audit job, like when you would be doing your articleship, you would be going to companies and you would be conducting audit. So all your relevant suggestions would be welcome. Okay. So Sayed, this example above what you are referring is, this is of a case. This is of a case that audit program for a financing house was drawn up number of years ago. Okay, and but it failed to take into consideration that business of the company was changed. Okay, earlier the company was into vehicle financing business. Now it was into the real estate business, but the audit was conducted with same program. So you can the audit was conducted with same audit program. So you can very well understand what kind of opinion the auditor may have given in these circumstances. Okay, so in these circumstances, it states the judgment was that audit was nothing but a farce. It was it was just an eyewash. It was a farce. It was not an audit at all. Okay, clear, Syed? So constructing an audit program. So all these things, all these points have to be kept in mind by the auditor while formulating a program, while constructing an audit program. So like students, we have already learned that audit planning immediately begins after the conclusion of last year's audit, and it goes on till this year's audit is concluded. Okay, so we have also learned that it is a audit planning is a continuous process, and change in plan, audit plan also happens during the course of audit. Okay, so because say while verifying internal controls, while applying tests of controls, the auditor might come to know of certain things, or while checking in detail, the auditor might come to know of certain things. So he may have to revise his audit plan and consequently audit program. Okay, so what are the steps which should be taken into consideration by an auditor for construction of an audit program? Number one, general guidelines. Stay within the scope and limitation of engagement assignment. So what is the scope? You are not to wander about irrelevant things. So what is the scope of your assignment? One has to stay within scope of the assignment. Written audit program has to be prepared. So audit program is always written. Okay. So in audit plan, the auditor writes that which procedures are planned by him, what kind of procedures are planned by him, and in audit program it breaks down those procedures into the verification steps which are actually required to be carried out. Okay, say I write in the audit plan that detailed checking is to be carried out in respect of say sales for a month. Okay, for month of March. Okay, then who would carry out these checking? Okay, what would be the extent? All these things would be detailed in the audit program. So determine that evidence reasonably available, identify the best evidence. So the auditor gains satisfaction by from a host of options. Okay, so he has to see which type of evidence would lead him to sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Because what is his target? What is the target of auditor? The target of auditor is to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. So sufficient appropriate audit evidence, you would be reading about it in chapter 3 in audit evidence. So for the time being, you can understand this much. Sufficient appropriate. Sufficient means which is it relates to number. Okay, you can understand. And appropriate relates to quality. Other things you would be learning about sufficient appropriate in detail in chapter 3. Okay, so apply only those steps which are useful in accomplishing for verification procedure in specific situation. Say like I want to verify the debtors of a company. I want to verify trade receivables of a company. Now one option before me is to verify all the sale bills of that party. Okay, trace all the payments which have been received from that party. Okay, in the bank account. And there is also another option to me that I send a letter to the party asking him to confirm the balance. So you have to understand that externally generated evidence is generally more reliable than internally generated evidence. Okay, it is not that internally generated evidence is not reliable. It can be relied. It is reliable, but in comparison to both, external evidence is more reliable. Why? Because it is coming from a third party. It is coming from an independent source. In client generated evidence, there could be possibility of manipulation. Again, you have to remember that it is not that client generated evidence is always to be mistrusted. It is not so. Again, I am telling you, it is not so. It is also reliable, but the question is of degree. Okay, the question is of degree. What is more reliable and what is less reliable? Okay, and in that case, the auditor would see what is the best evidence available in that circumstance. Okay, so he would try to obtain the best available evidence in those circumstances, in those situations. Okay, and he can also consider uh, some evidences together, like he may choose to verify part of sales also from the client sales records, or he may also try to make an external confirmations. Okay, that depends upon his professional judgment. So include the audit objectives for each area. So जो ऑडिट के ऑब्जेक्टिव्स हैं हर एक एरिया में, nothing should be left out, all should be looked into, all should be considered. Consider all possibilities of errors and coordinate actions. Okay, coordinate all the procedures to be replied to related items. So these are the points to be kept in mind by an auditor while constructing an audit program. So clear, guys? So as we have already learned that basic purpose of audit program is to provide audit evidence. So all these things relate to that. What is the importance of audit evidence, and what is the objective of designing an audit program? The objective of designing an audit program is to provide audit evidence. Or audit evidence, what would happen from audit evidence? From audit evidence, the auditor would be able to draw conclusions. And what would happen from conclusions? The conclusions would be used by auditor to form opinion. And what would happen to opinion? The opinion would be expressed in the audit report. So fairly simple, logical, guys. You should understand by now. Now Bhumika is asking to again explain step number 4. Yes, Bhumika, step number 4. Yes, these steps only states that auditor have only to perform, auditor has only to state only those procedures in the audit program which are useful in obtaining audit evidence, which are relevant for verification purposes. He should not write some irrelevant procedures and thereby wasting time and resources. Okay, is that clear to you, Bhumika? Like I have told you that evidence of one thing might be available from different sources. Like here, like sales are evidenced here. The example is given of sales. Okay, example is given of sales. So sales are evidenced by what? Invoices raised by client. जो सेल बिल हैं, what are the sale bills generated by the company? So first thing is primarily sales would be evidenced by sales invoices, and price list would also be an evidence in checking sales. If there is a price list, forwarding notes to clients that we are sending you the goods, dispatch type of things. Okay, so these also show that goods have been sent to the client. Inventory issue records, like if the goods have been sold, then these must be reduced from the finished goods inventory. Okay, so collection of money against sales by the client. Say if the sales have been made, then money should also have come. अगर आपने माल बेचा है तो पैसा भी आना चाहिए. Okay, so acknowledgement of the receipt of goods by the customers. So these are all evidence pointing to sales. And another evidence you can state for sales is, apart from invoices raised by the client. Guys, you have learnt about GST. You have some knowledge about GST. One thing is like e-way bills. Now say these days, since GST came into operation, e-way bills are mandatory for invoices of a certain value, 50,000, exceeding 50,000. Okay, so these are to be generated on the portal, on the designated portal, and these show that the goods were dispatched. Okay, and because e-way bill has to accompany the goods. Okay, these are necessary for the movement of goods. These show that goods were moved out of the company premises, out of the factory premises. So these kind of things. Yes, Syed, you are asking what happens if collection of money is less than actual value. So then it might be have an impact on the valuation of debtors, on the valuation of trade receivables. Say if I have raised a bill, if the company has raised a bill of rupees 1 lakh and the customer has paid rupees 90,000 only. Okay, 90,000 only. So either 10,000 would come, is going to come, or it has to be written off. So that call has to be taken by the management, whether this amount is recoverable or not. So if the amount is outstanding, auditor would ask why this amount is outstanding, whether it is recoverable or not. What is your position in this regard? Because he has to see about the valuation of, he is also concerned about valuation of trade receivables. Okay, say if yes, e-invoice, Mohit Sani, you are right, this is also required if turnover exceeds certain threshold limit in GST. Say I give you another example. Say if a debtor of 50 lakh is outstanding in books of a company. The company has made sale of 50 lakh and the same amount is outstanding. And also assume that the person to whom the goods were sold, that has fled away from the country, and he has also become insolvent and that has fled away from the country. So how the auditor is going to proceed? So the auditor would ask the management, how you are going to recover the amount? Tell me, since the party has fled and has become bankrupt, so you should make a complete provision, or you should write off the amount. Okay, isn't it? Because if the amount is not recoverable, then it is not it is a loss. It is a loss, and provision has to be made. Is that clear? So an auditor picks up evidence from a variety of fields. Okay, and it is generally of the following types, like evidence can be, it can be oral evidence, even it can be evidence obtained from inquiry, it can be documentary evidence, it can be some arithmetical calculations made by the auditor, it can be state of internal controls, it can be reading minutes of the company. So evidence in the context of audit, it means any information which is useful for arriving at conclusions on the basis of which the auditor can base his opinion. It is not necessary that for an auditor the evidence should come from the client. It can come from outside the client also. It can be any other information also. That also acts as audit evidence. Mohit Saini, you are asking fourth में क्या है sir? Which fourth you are asking, Mohit? Are you asking about D point? Yes, Mohit, tell me, are you asking about D point? Or what you are asking? Yes, D. D, it means statement of third parties. Like I send a request for confirmation to the customer of the company that this is the balance, this is your balance in the company. Please confirm whether this balance is same as per your records or not. Okay. So statement means you can understand by way of statement of account, and the statement and explanation of third parties, or some third parties might provide some information, might explain something, that might be audit evidence. Say I give you an example, Mohit. Say that that my company is engaged in manufacturing of, say, t-shirts. Okay, and I purchase fabric. The company purchases the fabric for manufacturing of t-shirts, and stitching of the t-shirts takes place at my premises. Okay, but for some works, like for labels or for some designing on the fabric, it goes outside the factory to some other units. Okay, so basically you can understand that my company is engaged in getting part of operations outsourced from certain third parties. So as at the end of the financial year, say some of my stock is also lying with the third parties. Okay, so how would the auditor know that how much stock is lying with the third parties? Because that stock is not lying in the premises of the company. So that stock might not be lying in the premises of the company. So it might request the third party to certify, to state that this much stock of this company was lying with them as on the date of financial statements. Okay, so this is what we mean by statements and explanations of third parties. Is Mohit, is it clear to you? Yes, Mohit, is it clear to you? And Subhash, you are stating what is. Yes, they will. If the third party does not provide information, then auditor has to perform alternative procedures. Okay, they might see in and out record of the company and see what is the balance. And Subhash, you are saying what is the example of physical examination? Examination means to see the things physically. Like say I am attending um, inventory count of a company as at the end of the year. Okay, and I open the cartoons, the boxes on a sample basis, and I test check the items of stock. Say in the same company there is stock of t-shirts. There are 10,000 boxes lying in the godown, and I open randomly 10 boxes and see whether there are t-shirts in it or not, or what is the condition of t-shirts. Whether these are tradable t-shirts, क्या वो कटे फिटे, whether these are rags तो नहीं है या कुछ और तो नहीं भर रखा. Okay, so I am not supposed to count each and every box. That is the responsibility of the management. My responsibility is to check how the management is carrying out its procedure and to test check the same. Okay, so clear? Is it clear to you? Physical examination. Who was writing this? Subhash Tiwari. Yes. And minutes. Who is saying minutes? Manisha. Minutes means minutes is just record of meetings. Like whenever a meeting takes place in company, or say some official meeting takes place, so the records, what was the agenda, what transpired at the meeting, okay, what was the decision taken, these things, these are known as minutes of the company. This is a this term you would be learning in company law also, and it is a fairly general term. If anybody you are hearing news, this term is very often heard these days. Minutes, like minutes, official minutes, like what transpired in the cabinet, the official minutes. What were the official minutes? Now the court called for the minutes, which minutes of the meeting which took place among a group of ministers. Okay, so it is a very general term. Yes, and memorandum records, Mohit. Memorandum records, subsidiary and memorandum records, some registers which are supporting main financial records. Okay, some records which are supporting financial records. So another example is given, like for cash in hand, the best evidence is count. So cash in hand उस दिन उतना था या नहीं? Okay, so the best thing is to have cash in hand verified physically as at the date. Now advantages and disadvantages of an audit program. Now advantages, guys, you by now it should be clear to you. What are the advantages of an audit program? Fairly simple. It provides the assistant carrying out the audit with a clear set of instructions. Assistant knows that what I have to check at the site, what procedures I have to perform, what I have to check. He has the paper in his hand to what kind of instructions are given to him. Okay, this is audit program. So it is essential for major audits to provide a total perspective of the work to be performed. Now it gives an audit program, gives you an overall picture, an overview, a bird's eye view of what work is to be performed. Okay. So selection of assistants becomes easier. Say if some work is technical, it requires more skill, then more senior persons are deputed. Okay, and if some work is of routine nature, doesn't apply any higher skill or competence, then it can be deputed to be carried out by a fresher. So without a written program, work is only carried on basis of a mental plan. So there would be always danger of not performing audit properly. So obviously, guys, like any other thing, if you jot it down, if you make a plan, then you can analyze it. What are its plus? What are its minus? What are its pros? And what are its cons? What are its advantages? Whether I have taken the whole thing into consideration. Otherwise, if it keeps in my head, if it keeps rolling in my head, then it would remain a mental plan only. Okay. Next, the assistants, by putting their signatures, accept the responsibilities. So on audit program, the article clerks, assistants, they have to sign that they have done this work. Okay, so in this way they accept their responsibility. See, कल को कोई गलती मिलती है, so your boss can ask you that this procedure was informed by, say, Mohit Saini, or this procedure was performed by Ustad Singh, and now this error has been pointed out. How it means that you have not done your work properly. So it fixes a responsibility. Okay, so it fixes a responsibility. The principal can control the progress of various audits by examination of audit programs. So the principal, the auditor, he can control the progress. He can know how much work has been performed, how much work has been completed, because there is a paper before him, and he can very well judge, and he can very well see that how much work has been performed. It acts as a monitoring tool. Okay, it acts as a monitoring tool to monitor the performance. Okay, and not the least, it serves as a guide for audits to be carried out in succeeding years. Now, say if I am conducting audit of the same company for next year, then some information by virtue of that audit program that would already possessed by me. So it acts as a template for me. Okay, although I would be making certain changes, but there is a base, isn't it, guys? There is a base upon which I can act in for my next year assignment. And a properly drawn up audit program uh, serves as evidence in case charge of negligence is brought against auditor. Say if later on it is said that auditor has not performed his audit according to professional standards, or he is not done his work qualitatively, or there are frauds, there are material misstatements, but the auditor has not identified and he has given the inappropriate opinion, then the auditor can show audit program as a proof of having performed the work diligently by in accordance with the audit plan, by employing reasonable skill, care with professional competence. So you understand the importance of audit program. Okay. Now guys, there are also some disadvantages of audit program, so called. I would say so called. Now without going through your module, just write from your common sense what can be disadvantages of an audit program. What could be possible? What are the so-called disadvantages? In fact, these are not disadvantages, but they can become disadvantages in situations. So how these can become disadvantages? What are the possible disadvantages without without even setting an eye on your module for once? Just write from your own mind what could be possible disadvantages of an audit program. Yes. Yes, guys, send me your mails. What could be possible? What could be possible disadvantages of audit program? Yes, only two. Bhumika, Darshan. What about others, guys? Yes, it may make rigid and all these things, time consuming, costly. But students, you should understand that these are not in fact disadvantages. These can be whatever so-called disadvantages are of an audit program. These can be easily overcome with proper instructions, with proper planning. Like one of the disadvantages that work can become mechanical because the audit program is rigid. Now we had already learned that assistants should be encouraged to keep an open mind. Now if assistants keep an open mind and give constructive suggestions to the principal, to the auditor, then how audit program would remain mechanical? Okay. So are you able to see the screen, guys? Some of you are saying that screen is blurred. There might be some problem at your end, guys. Some connectivity issue at your end. Are you able to see the screen? Is the screen visible? Yes, there is no problem at our end, guys. The screen is visible. So wait for few seconds. Wait for few seconds, guys. Yes, now you are saying it is clear. So the work may become mechanical. Okay, but this can be overcome like I have told you. So this is also related that program often becomes rigid and inflexible. Number 3, this C point is very interesting, guys. C point states that inefficient assistants might take shelter behind the program. इसका क्या मतलब है, guys? And defend the efficiencies in their work. Say if the audit program does not contain some instruction on certain matters, say like I had given you the example of scrap. Say the instruction was not there in that very audit program, that you have to verify, you have to adopt these procedures for verification of scrap. Okay, and there is some inefficient article. So one of my articles, suppose he is inefficient and he is on the audit. He knows that there is a huge scrap in the company, but he says, sir, I didn't carry out any procedures. Why? Because there was nothing in the audit program. So it might uh, uh, end up as an excuse for inefficient assistants. So is that point clear to you? So the inefficient assistants may take shelter behind the program. Is the point clear to you, guys? Point number C, what is the meaning of this point? Inefficient assistants may take shelter behind the program. They say कि this step was not there. So what was there for us to verify? We didn't verify this. But as I have told you that you guys have to keep an open mind, give constructive suggestions, keep your eyes and ear open and see what is happening around you, what is given to you, what information is provided to you. Okay, and try to correlate with the audit program provided to you. So a hard and fast audit program may kill initiative of initiative of efficient, or this is again connected to rigidity. Okay, yes, mechanical means this. So say if an article, if a student who is deputed to conduct an audit, say he is very efficient, he understands the subject of auditing. Okay, but he feels that by following the audit program he is bound somewhat, that his hands are tied. से आपने पूरा ऑडिट सब्जेक्ट पढ़ लिया है और आपको अच्छी नॉलेज एंड यू आर रेयरिंग टू गो, आप कहते हो कंपनी में जाके सो आई वुड चेक दिस, आई वुड चेक दिस, लेकिन बट समहाउ द ऑडिट program binds you, so you feel that it is putting a lid on your initiative, it is putting a lid on your energies. Okay, so but actually it is not so. Why? Because we have already told you that constructive suggestions of assistants are always welcome. So therefore we can say, I already given the example, Sayyid. So therefore we can say that all these so-called disadvantages, of an audit program can be overcome. So all these disadvantages may be eliminated by an imaginative supervision of work carried on by the assistants, and the auditor must have a receptive attitude as regards the assistants. So whatever suggestion the people who are on the field, who go for audit, their suggestions should also be carefully considered. Okay. So now guys, and guys, few of you, yes, Mohit, you seem to be too naughty. You are writing independence of article is under threat. No, the concept of independence, this applies to chartered accountants and not to the articles. Okay. So an audit is a complex task, as you know, guys. And students, some of you are writing that you are understanding the subject, you find it interesting. I think Ustad is writing that you understand the subject, you find it interesting, you enjoy it, but you are not able to write it. So only thing is, only strategy in this is just to understand, remember and frame short sentences. Remember keywords, remember key sentences, remember key phrases, and by all these informations which you have gathered, frame short sentences. Students, I'll tell you why you are not able to write. Say you want to write that say you want to write this line that an auditor that an audit plan should include nature, timing, and extent of procedures to be performed, but you have failed to remember the words nature, timing, and extent. Then how, without remembering these three words, how you can put that line into your answer? There is no other way. You have to remember. You have to remember. You have to learn how to frame sentences. So communication, guys, even communication by an auditor is also an important aspect of audit process. Say you have to keep documentation for the audit you have carried out. So there is a separate standard on that, SA 230. So if you are not clear in your thoughts and you are not able to write what procedures you have performed and what evidence you have obtained and what is your evaluation, so you need to have some basic writing skills. It is not that you need the you have to write an essay. It is not that you have to write an essay, but you need some basic writing skills which are important for an auditor, because the auditor has to keep the documentation, he has to communicate with the management. Say if you are not able to communicate with the management properly, then many of your purposes, many of your objectives may be lost. Yes, Mohit, do written practice and revise keywords. Yes, revision of keywords is very important. First you remember and revise keywords, then write. If you first start writing without remembering, you would not be able to write. Okay. So this also states that the auditor has to supervise the work of his team members, of his assistants. Okay, because it is the auditor who is ultimately responsible. He has to sign the report and he has to ensure that audit complies with the professional standards and regulatory and legal requirements, and the auditor's report issued is appropriate in circumstances. Okay. Mohit Saini, if you can obtain rank, then there cannot be happier thing than that. But always set realistic targets, and it is good to set a target which is above your what do I say, above your own benchmarks, but always set realistic targets. Okay, so clear guys. So before we start the second topic relating to materiality, which is there in essay 320, guys, would you like to see how does a practical audit program look like? Would you like to see, guys? So is it is the screen visible, guys? Yes, tell me. Is the screen visible to you? Is the screen visible, guys? So this is a audit program. Say like this is the name of the company, whatever the name of the company is, financial year, prepared by who prepared the audit program, who reviewed it, who approved it, and thereafter what are the procedures to be performed, what are the detailed procedures to be performed. Like it has like say 5 columns. Extent of checking, कितना check करना है. Okay, what is the size of the sample, what is the basis of sample selection, how sample was selected, this you would be reading in later chapters. Okay, and done by, and who carried out that procedures. Like you just understood that that assistants sign on the program and they accept the responsibility. So it shows that, like second point say was done by Mohit, so it would be written in the audit program that this aspect has been verified by Mohit, so Mohit would be signing there. Okay, so like say it is a fairly long document. I'll just try to show it in 1-2 minutes. Say regarding fixed assets, say one aspect relating to fixed assets. Now these are audit program is a detailed, it is in form of detailed instructions. What has to be done? The assistant would do that much. So verify opening balances of fixed assets from previous financial statements. This एक तो ये करना है fixed assets है. So it is not a standard program, but I am showing you that this could include verify addition to fixed assets if any during the year. वेरीफाई सेल्स एडिशंस हैं तो देखिए उसका बिल देखिए. वेरीफाई सेल्स इफ सम एसेट हैज बीन सोल्ड, उसका बिल देखिए. Verify arithmetical accuracy of schedule of fixed assets. So you see what is the fixed asset schedule in which there is original cost, addition, deletion, uh, accumulated depreciation and depreciation, then it is arithmetically correct. Okay. Yes, Shazia, you are saying then who will review and approve? Look, there are team members and some senior team member might be drafting it, and it might be reviewed by some other person and finally approved by the principal himself. Okay, verify title deeds of land. Now if land is appearing, then verify title deeds of land. Title deeds, you mean like say copy of registry, that whether the land is in the name of the company or the entity. Verify fixed assets from the fixed assets register and seek letter from the management that these were physically verified. Verify calculation of depreciation. Okay, so similarly in case of inventories, there are some steps. Similarly, in case of say sundry debtors, there are some steps like check debt balances of debtors, trace few sale bill directly into respective debtors accounts. Now कितना सैंपल है, एक्सटेंट ऑफ चेकिंग क्या है, वो भी दैट वुड आल्सो बी स्टेटेड. कौन से महीने के चेक किए हुए या इस महीने में 10 दिन के चेक किए हुए हैं, उस बेसिस उस सैंपल का बेसिस क्या था, रैंडम सैंपलिंग थी, स्ट्रेटिफाइड सैंपलिंग थी, व्हाट वाज इट. ट्रेस फ्यू क्रेडिट एंट्रीज इन डेटर्स अकाउंट्स विद दोज इन बैंक स्टेटमेंट. एग्जामिन इफ देयर इज एन ओल्ड आउटस्टैंडिंग डेटर. ऑब्टेन डायरेक्ट कंफर्मेशन फ्रॉम डेटर्स, किस किस से ऑब्टेन करनी है. So these are type of things. So guys, you get an idea of how does an audit program look like, and what columns does an audit program have. Like it has extent of checking, basis of checking, who checked it, what are the detailed steps to be carried out. So have you got an idea of what are the contents, what are the probable contents of an audit program? How does it look like? Yes, students, tell me. Similarly, relating to all other items of financial statements and also of statement of profit and loss. Okay, guys. So guys, we shall be taking a short break of 5-7 minutes and see you after 5-7 minutes, guys, after a very short break. So break starts Welcome back, guys. So, guys, we had discussed about materiality a little bit in 1-2 lines in chapter 1. So now we shall be learning about what do we mean by materiality. And this all this whole concept is largely based upon essay 320. Okay, so it is based upon essay 320. So financial statements to disclose all material items. So what does first of all material mean? So generally we had understood important, significant, but what is the technical meaning of that? So the items, the knowledge of which might influence the decisions of users of financial statements. These are called material items. So simply stated, material items are those items, the knowledge of which might influence the decisions of users of financial statements. The users, those may be creditors, those may be bankers, those may be government authorities or investors. It is not essay 30 Komal, it is essay 320. Standard on auditing 320. First chapter was on essay 200. Second chapter audit planning portion is based upon essay 300, and this concept, this topic of materiality is based upon essay 320. It is essay 320. So guys, one more important thing you have to remember, that materiality is not always a matter of relative size. So by now you are understanding that if some amount is big, some amount is large enough, then it is material. But it is not always so. Materiality is not always a matter of relative size. Like say, if the auditor comes to know that a fraud is being committed by accountant, but the amount is small. Say the amount may be in few thousand rupees. But even in these circumstances, even this can become material. Okay. How this can become material? Because this can indicate, since the fraud is happening, although the amount is small, since the fraud is happening, it would mean that the internal control system of that entity, of that company, is not working properly. The checks which the company had designed, these were not working properly. That is why the accountant was able to commit a fraud. So in such a case, even small amounts can be material. Okay, so you have to remember that although materiality is affected by size, although it is affected by size, but it is not always a matter of relative size. Okay. So Komal essay 320 deals with the concept of materiality. It is a standard on auditing. Its name is materiality in planning and performing an audit. Okay. So sometimes the financial reporting frameworks, they also discuss what is material and what is not material. Say in case of companies, you know that financial statements are prepared in accordance with schedule 3. So schedule 3 states that a company should disclose by way of notes additional information regarding any item of income or expenditure which exceeds 1% of revenue from operations, or 1 lakh, whichever is higher. So therefore the company has to disclose any item of income or expenditure, say which is more than 1% of revenue, or rupees 1 lakh, whichever is higher. So 1 lakh is the minimum. Say if the revenue of the company is 50 crore. So what is 1%? 1% is 5 lakh. So any item which is more than, which is 5 lakh or more, this has to be disclosed by way of notes as additional information, so that users, so that the shareholders, the other users, the bankers, they have the knowledge that this expenditure of say 6 lakh, what is its nature, on what account it has been incurred. Okay, or if there is an item of say 6 lakhs, so it is not merged with some head, it is shown separately, it is additionally disclosed. Okay, so clear guys. Similarly, a company should disclose in notes to account shares in the company by each shareholder holding more than 5% of shares. Okay, so if a shareholder holds more than 5% of shares of total shareholding, then it has to be disclosed by way of notes that shareholding of this person is more than 5%. Okay, so these are examples of material information which is required to be presented by statute, by law, by applicable reporting financial framework. So clear guys? Yes students, is that clear? So guys, you have also to understand that this concept of materiality not only applies when audit is performed, but it is also applied at the time of planning an audit. So when an auditor is planning the audit, he has also to keep in mind the concept of materiality. He has to determine materiality of the financial statements as a whole, कि क्या मेरे लेवल है, कितने अमाउंट से ज्यादा की ट्रांजैक्शंस जो हैं मेरे को कंपल्सरली चेक करनी है, कि because he feels that these may carry risk of material misstatement. Unless he sets a materiality level, then how he would be able to carry out risk assessment procedures? He would set out materiality level, and then he would be planning about risk assessment procedures and other procedures which are required to be carried out. Okay, so financial reporting frameworks generally discuss about materiality, like we have seen in the case of companies in schedule 3. These financial reporting frameworks tell generally following things about materiality, like misstatements are material if expected to influence the economic decision of users. This we have already understood. And you have also to understand that misstatements include omissions. It is not only that say 5 lakh has been misreported as 50 lakhs. It is not only that, even omissions are also misstatements. Say if some disclosure was required to be given in the financial statements, but the disclosure has not been given, it has been omitted, so it is also a misstatement. Okay, so misstatements including omissions are material if they individually or in aggregate, if by themselves or combinedly or together or in aggregate, they influence the economic decisions of the users taken on the basis of financial statements. Okay. Number 2, judgment about materiality are affected by the size or nature of a misstatements. So judgment whether an item is material or not, it is dependent upon size or nature. Nature means किस type की misstatement है. Say whether if it is a fraud, if misstatement has arisen due to fraud, then even if it is of a small amount, it would become material. And if it is due to error, then the auditor has to see what is its nature. So materiality is affected by size. Size is also a factor, but it is not always affected by size. This is the distinguishing point you have to remember, that although materiality is affected by size, but it is not always a matter of relative size. Okay. And third point is judgment about matters that are material are based on a consideration of common financial information needs of a users as a group. Now, what is meant by that? Say guys, we have understood that financial statements are used by wide variety of users. Like say shareholders might use it, bankers might use it. So the auditor, while deciding about materiality, he would not think about the individual needs of each shareholder. These might vary. Say, while reading some balance sheet, I as an shareholder, I as an investor, I might be interested in something. So how does the auditor know? He cannot be expected to meet the individual information needs of each and every user, but he has to keep in mind the information needs of users as a group, that while deciding whether this item is material or not, he would decide that how shareholders as a group would take it, or how banker would consider this, what would be the impact. Okay. Or say what would be the impact upon investors of this item. So these are the considerations which an auditor has to keep in mind while deciding about materiality. So common information needs of users as a group, not of each shareholder, not of each user, but common information needs of users as a group. Okay, is that clear? Yes, if accounting standard is not followed, yes, Mohit. Because accounting standard might require to disclose something and that might not be disclosed, so that would be a material misstatement. Or some policy is not in accordance with, some accounting policy is not in accordance with the with one prescribed in accounting standard, so that would also be a material misstatement. Okay, so these all three things, these are the general frame of references which help the auditor in deciding what thing is material, what thing is not material. So quickly to repeat it again. So misstatements, number one, misstatements are material, guys, if these influence economic decisions of the users of the financial statements. If these are in a position to influence the economic decisions of the users. Number two is judgment about materiality are affected by the nature and size of misstatement. What is its nature, whether it is due to fraud, whether it is due to error, what is giving rise to that misstatement. Okay, what kind of misstatement it is. So materiality obviously would be dependent upon nature and also on the size, but it is not always dependent upon the relative size. Okay, number 3, a judgment about materiality is dependent upon the common information needs of users as a group, not for the each and every individual user. Okay, clear students, is that clear? And the auditor, while deciding about materiality in planning and performing audit, he also assumes certain things about the users. So these are the 4 things about the users. What are these 4 things? First thing, he assumes that the persons who are reading the financial statements, the users, they have knowledge of the business and economic activities, and they have basic knowledge of accounting also, and they have a capability to study the statements, study the information, financial information with reasonable effort, with reasonable diligence. Okay, so you can basically understand that they are somewhat financially literate. उनको पता है कि ये बैलेंस शीट क्या होती है, उसको कैसे स्टडी करना है, और जिस कंपनी की वो बैलेंस शीट पढ़ रहे हैं वो कंपनी का बिजनेस और उसकी इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी क्या है. So this much the auditor is, you would understand, the auditor is fair enough to assume this much. Only then he can decide about materiality. He also assumes that users understand that financial statements are prepared, presented, and audited to the levels of materiality. The auditor assumes that the persons who are using the financial statements, that they know that errors, frauds, misstatements can happen in the even after the accounts have been audited. That the financial statements are prepared, presented, and audited keeping in view concept of materiality. That only material information is highlighted, which may be required by law, or which may be decided by the professional judgment of the auditor. And while auditing also, this concept of materiality is kept in mind. So guys, you have to remember that materiality runs throughout the audit. ये चीज आपको कभी नहीं भूलनी है कि materiality runs throughout the audit. Throughout का क्या मतलब है? When I am saying throughout, what is meaning of throughout? Throughout starts from the planning of audit. From the planning the audit to the performance of audit procedures to evaluating audit evidence. So he would be obtaining audit evidence by performing procedures. So when he would be assessing that audit evidence, he would keep in concept of materiality. What impact this evidence would have, whether it is material or immaterial, whether it is significant or insignificant. So then he would lead to conclusions and thereafter to his opinion, then whether his opinion is also materially affected or not. So this concept of materiality runs throughout the audit. It forms the very basis of conducting an audit. It is not restricted to performing an audit only. It is present there while planning an audit. It is present there while performing audit procedures. It is present there while evaluating audit evidence. It is present there while judging about the effect of uncorrected statements. It is present there while deciding about the opinion. So the concept of materiality runs throughout the audit, right from planning, performance, and till expression of opinion. Mohit, economic activities, guys, simple economic activity means whatever the activity, whatever the commercial activities which the company is doing. Okay, which is leading to the inflow and outflow of money. Recognize the uncertainties inherent in measurement of amounts, that the users understand that financial statements are prepared on the involve judgment by the management, and there are estimates to be made, there are judgments to be made, so therefore there are uncertainties. Okay, so users understand this, and not the least, the users make reasonable economic decisions on the basis of information in the financial statements. Okay, clear, guys? So the concept of materiality is applied in planning and performing the audit, as I have already told you. Same thing, the concept, this is very important. The concept of materiality is applied by auditor both in planning and performing the audit, in evaluating the effect of identified misstatements and of uncorrected misstatements. जो misstatements हैं लेकिन से मैनेजमेंट ने करेक्ट नहीं की, और ऑडिटर के ओपिनियन पे इसका क्या इफेक्ट होगा. सो स्टार्टिंग till end, the concept of materiality is relevant. The concept of materiality is applied. Okay. Is that clear, guys? So this performance materiality I am coming into later, after few minutes. So guys, how to determine materiality? So the guys, materiality can be determined upon by certain benchmarks. Now such benchmarks might be, say, profit before tax, or say it might be revenues of the company, or it might be, say, total assets of the company. Okay, so materiality is set by the auditor as a percentage of benchmark. Say the profit of the company is, profit before tax is 50 lakhs. Okay, the auditor may set materiality level for financial statements at 10%. So that would be 5 lakh. So what does this mean? That any amount above 5 lakh is material for him, is important for him. That needs to be verified. So this amount setting of materiality is dependent upon the professional judgment of the auditor, upon his experience, upon the skill which he has acquired all the years. So these are examples of benchmarks. So materiality level is set as a percentage of benchmarks. Okay, so now what are the factors which might affect the choosing of an appropriate benchmark? कौन सा benchmark choose करना है? So like different elements of financial statements use हो सकते हैं. Like I have told you, like revenue can be used as a benchmark, like total assets can be used, like say if I am checking inventories, so I can also say that inventories are say are material if these are more than 1% of total assets. What are the total assets means whatever the total assets are appearing in balance sheet, so inventories of 1% are material. Okay, so I would check that, or whether there are items which require specific attention of the users. Okay, like shareholders might be interested in profits. Yes, materiality depends upon it would change from business to business. Yes, guys, wait for a minute. You are saying screen is blurred. So please see, the screen is not clear. Complaint is coming. So guys, please wait. There might be connectivity issues. Yes. Is the screen clear now? Yes, guys. Is the screen clear now? Yes, guys, tell me, are you able to hear me? Yes, now you are writing that screen is clear. Okay, the nature of entity, the industry in which it operates. So materiality is dependent upon that also. So your question stands answered, Mohit. You are saying whether it is different from business to business. Yes, what is the nature of entity? Whether it is a manufacturing company, it is a trading company, the company carries out a seasonal activity. Okay. So these kind of things, and relative volatility of the benchmark. इसका क्या मतलब है? Relative volatility of the benchmark. Say whether the benchmark is steady, it is stable. Say एक कंपनी का से प्रॉफिट बिफोर टैक्स एक साल में से 50 लाख था, ठीक है. से अगले साल एज्यूम पेंडेमिक आ गया, तो कंपनी का प्रॉफिट जो है वो लॉस में कन्वर्ट हो गया, बिकॉज देयर वाज नो एक्टिविटी. सो while setting out materiality level by taking an it would not be possible for the auditor to take materiality level of the last year in which the pandemic came. Okay, so वो जो भी बेंचमार्क ऑडिटर अडॉप्ट करेगा दैट शुड बी स्टेबल. The auditor has to see whether it is not extraordinary fluctuating, it is very much volatile, so that it might result into distortions. So if the benchmark selected by the auditor for setting materiality is very volatile, then it might result into distortions, and the auditor might select materiality at wrong levels. Okay, so is that clear? So benchmarks in relation to materiality, students, you have to remember these may be different elements of financial statements, like these may be profit before tax, these may be total assets, or these may be revenues. Okay, okay, and these may be gross margins, so such kind of things. So like say I have given you the example of inventory. Say total assets of the company are in the balance sheet on the asset sides are 10,000 crores and inventories are 2,500 crore. Okay, so these constitute bulk of the, these are 25% of the total assets. So these are the important material account balances. Okay. Yes, it depends upon the professional judgment of auditor. It depends upon the professional judgment of the auditor. And guys, one more thing you have to understand. When we take profit before tax as a benchmark, then the percentage is usually higher, because obviously the profit before tax figure would be smaller. Say when we take revenue as a benchmark, then percentage there would be smaller, because revenue figure by itself would be larger. Say if I say that revenues of a company are 100 crore and I set materiality at 1%, so the amount is 1 crore. So it is too huge. So I would here only be checking items which are more than 1 crore. Say, but if the profit of the companies is 10 crore, profit before tax is 10 crore, and I set materiality level at 5%. Okay, then that would be 50 lakhs. Okay, so that depends upon my professional judgment. But normally, when PBT is taken as an benchmark, the percentage obviously is higher, and when revenue is taken, then percentage applied is lower. Is that clear? Because obviously profit before taxes cannot be greater than revenues. Revenues would be definitely much more in multiples than profit before taxes. Okay. So clear, guys? So these are the different type of benchmarks. Like these I have already explained to you. And in relation to chosen benchmark, relevant financial data ordinarily includes prior year financial results, concerned period results, budget or forecast. So materiality can be set using all these data so as to rule out abnormal fluctuations. So as to rule out abnormal fluctuations. So what is the purpose of all that? To prepare to set a normalized profit which is standardized. Okay. So that to apply percentage to that chosen mark to rule to remove the effect of volatility if it is there. Okay. This I have already told you, that if there is a relationship between percentage and chosen benchmark. I have already told you, percentage applied to profit before tax will be higher than a percentage applied to total revenue. Okay. And guys, three more things. Yes, Siddhi, you are asking what is EBIT? EBIT is earning before interest and taxes. EBIT means earning before interest and taxes. It means profit before interest and taxes. Okay. The board would become visible, guys. Have patience. And earning before interest, taxes and depreciation. Okay. So guys, few items are material irrespective of the amount. Say when the law requires something to be stated, when the law requires law regulation requires something to be yes guys, is the board visible? Is the board visible now? Is the board visible? Yes, please tell me guys. Is it now visible? Is it visible now? Yes, students. Now when law states some amount to be when law states some amount to be disclosed, then it is always material. Then it is always material. Yes guys, there might be some connectivity issues. When law states some amount, so you can hear guys and later on read from your modules. When law states something to be disclosed, then it is always material. Like say the schedule 3 requires related party transactions to be disclosed. Okay, or remuneration to key managerial persons to be disclosed. Then irrespective of the amount, whatever is the amount, whatever the materiality level has been set by the auditor, it would become material because it has been prescribed by the law. Okay. So the key disclosures in relation to the industry. Okay, like there might be special requirements of some industry, some practice is being followed. So those become material. And guys, we had left out one thing of performance materiality. Now, what is performance materiality? We'll see. So guys, one thing is when materiality is set for financial statements as a whole. So when I am planning the audit, I would be setting materiality for financial statements as a whole. And also I would be deciding about the materiality at an assertion level. Okay, so it might so happen that some individual misstatements at the assertion level, the effect of this might be greater than the materiality level set by me for the financial statements as a whole. So performance materiality is, you have to remember simply that performance materiality is set at even at a lower level than the materiality for financial statements as a whole, so that the aggregate effect of undetected misstatements does not exceed the materiality for financial statements as a whole. Okay. So performance materiality means the amount or amount set by the auditor at less than materiality for financial statements as a whole. जो financial statements के लिए मैंने materiality level set किया है, उससे कम, वाई लेस देन दैट, सो दैट कि कुछ अगर अनकरेक्टेड स्टेटमेंट्स हैं तो उनका कंबाइंड इफेक्ट टोटल जो मैंने फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट के लिए सेट किया उससे भी ज्यादा ना हो जाए, टू रिड्यूस दैट रिस्क। ओके, सो परफॉर्मेंस मटेरियलिटी मींस the amount set by the auditor at less than materiality for financial statements as a whole to reduce to an appropriately low level the probability that aggregate of uncorrected and undetected misstatements exceeds materiality for financial statements as a whole. Okay, so guys, you have also to understand that materiality has also to be documented by the auditor. Materiality has also to be documented by the auditor. So what has to be documented by the auditor in context of materiality? What has to be documented by the auditor in context of materiality? Now these things have to be documented. Materiality for financial statements as a whole, materiality for transactions, for account balances and disclosures. Okay, if applicable, materiality for levels for transactions, account balances and disclosures, and performance materiality, and any revision, any changes as the audit progressed. Same, when I planned the audit, I say planned the materiality level at say 5% of profit before tax. However, subsequently when audit progressed, I changed the materiality level because of I identified something unusual, and I found that the risk of material misstatement is more due to certain factors. So therefore, I revised that materiality. So the auditor has to document materiality level for financial statements as a whole, and materiality level for account balances, transactions and disclosures, if applicable, performance materiality, and any revision in any of these. Okay guys, so is that clear? So now are you ready for the certain MCQs? Yes students, are you able to see the screen? Are you able to see the screen? Yes students, are you able to see the screen? Tell me guys, are you able to see the screen? Is the screen clear to you for MCQs? I think many of you have left out. So which of the following is not an advantage of audit program? Tell me guys. Which of the following is not an advantage of audit program? A, B, C, D, 4 options are given. Which of the following is not an advantage of audit program? Four options are given. Only Darshan has replied. Only Darshan has responded. What about others? Sonali, Revati, Sayyad, Varsha, Himanshu Pathak. Yes. Answer is C. C is the option. Because these are the advantages. This is also advantage. This is also advantage. This is a drawback. It might provide shelter to inefficient assistants. Okay. And it provides a total perspective of work to be performed. So the answer is C. Answer is C. Yes, Mohit, your chat is visible here. Why are you worried? Your chat is visible. Mohit, what you have answered? I think everybody has answered C. Mohit, your answers. I have not got your answer. What is your answer? C. Yes, C. Mohit is also writing C. So it's the correct answer is C. So it was a fairly simple question. Now we come to second question. Now see the below given diagram. चलिए डायग्राम देख लिया स्टूडेंट्स आपने. ओवरऑल ऑडिट स्ट्रेटेजी, ऑडिट प्लान and changes made to audit strategy and audit plan, reasons for such changes. Okay, so considering the above diagram, which of the following is statement is most appropriate? Which of the following statement is most appropriate? So should I scroll it back? First you see the diagram. 4 things are there. Audit strategy, audit plan, changes to audit strategy and audit plan, and reason for such changes. Now you have to say which of the following statements is most appropriate regarding documentation of all these. Auditor को क्या क्या document करना है इसमें से? Yes. Question number 2. So answer, guys, when you are answering, also state question number also. Mohit is saying to unzoom it. Now I am unzooming it little bit. You are able to see, guys. 4 things are there: overall audit strategy, audit plan, changes to audit plan, and reason for changes. Changes to audit strategy and plan and reason for changes. Okay, now you see the options. What is to be documented? What is to be documented? Yes, only Syed, Darshan, Shazia, Himanshu Pathak. Yes, what about others? Yes, guys. Yes, answer is C. All are required to be documented. And how Singh Rajkumar, Rajiv Kumar, and Loga Sundar and Syed, how you are writing D? D is the wrong answer. Here there is only audit plan and significant changes to audit plan and reason for such changes. भैया audit strategy अब भूल गए? Audit strategy भी तो document करनी है. All things, whether it is audit strategy, whether it is audit plan, whether there are changes to audit strategy and audit plan, and not only changes but reason for changes. All these things have to be documented. Yes, Bhumika, your mail is coming. So option is C. Bhumika, you had also written C. So your answer is also correct. Yes, everything is documented. Yes, Mohit, you are correct. So generally, I give you a thumb rule regarding documentation. So guys, ये कोई परफेक्ट रूल नहीं है, बट थंब रूल है. इसको कहते हैं कि ऑडिट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन में, नॉर्मली ऑडिट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन के क्वेश्चन में जितनी एक्सटेंसिव चीज होगी तो ऑब्वियसली जनरली स्टैंडर्ड सब हर एक एस्पेक्ट को डॉक्यूमेंट करने के लिए कहते हैं जनरली. ओके, सो यू कैन कीप दैट इन माइंड. ओके, सो क्वेश्चन नंबर 3. नाउ व्हाट इज क्वेश्चन 3? Which of the following is not true about materiality? तो आपको बताना है which of the following is not true about materiality. Not. 3 statements true हैं, 1 is false. You have to tell which of the following is not true about materiality. What is your question number? Write question number also. Question number also. Which of the following is not true about materiality? Yes, answer has come. Bhumika, Shazia, Darshan, Sayyad, all have written correctly. What about others? So the answer is A. This is the right answer. Materiality is always a matter of relative size. This is wrong. I had told you that materiality is not always a relative matter of size. हमेशा size पे depend नहीं करती. Not always a matter of relative size. It depends upon size. So this is the distinction you have to remember. So question can be framed in any way. So if you understand the concept, students, then you forget how the question would be framed. आपको रट्टा नहीं लगाना है. You have not to cram. Okay. And Mohit, how you are writing that D is correct? That D is the answer. This statement is true. This statement is false. This is true, and this is also true. We had learned that judgment about materiality is made by the auditor keeping in view the common information needs of users as a group. वो एक एक यूजर को ध्यान में रख के तो मेटेरियलिटी डिसाइड नहीं करेगा. इट इज नॉट पॉसिबल प्रैक्टिकली. सो ही वुड डिसाइड मेटेरियलिटी डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द common financial information needs of users as a group. This is a true statement. So we have to choose out the statement which is not true. So the option is A. So the option is A. Mohit, if you are a little bit confused, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. When you would study from module, you would gain a better understanding. Yes, Sonali, you have also written. You have also written A. Your answer is also correct. Materiality is not always a matter of relative size. It depends upon size. It is affected by size. It is influenced by size, but it is not always a matter of size. Okay, so it is a false statement. Now next question, question number 4. Now you have to tell which of the following is true about materiality. True क्या है? Which of the following is true about materiality? Now 3 statements are false, 1 is true. Which statement is true about materiality? Yes, tell. Yes, students, send your mails. Which of the following is true about materiality? Question number 4. Yes, Muhammad Aslam, Sayyid, Darshan C, Singh, Rajiv Kumar. Yes. What about others? All of you have answered. Yes, correctly. The answer is B. Materiality is applied by auditor both in planning and performing an audit. खाली परफॉर्मेंस के लिए यूज नहीं होता. मैंने आपको बताया था. इट रन थ्रू आउट. ये जो बेसिक कंसेप्ट्स हैं, I focus upon them. I tell them, I try to explain basic fundas to you repeatedly, but still you are making mistakes, guys. So it runs throughout. Misstatements are material if not expected. So this is also false. because misstatements are material if they influence economic decisions of users. And when there is a statutory requirement of disclosure, it is always considered material. So this statement is also false. So only this remains. This is the true statement. Sorry, B. This is the true statement. This is also false. So materiality is applied by the auditor both in planning and performing the audit. Varsha, you are asking about D. Say when there is a requirement in law, so irrespective of the amount, irrespective of value, it is always considered material because law is saying so. Say if some disclosure is required in accordance with the Companies Act, then it has to be made. There is no option left for the management or for the auditor. So it is as simple as that. When there is a statutory requirement of disclosure, it is always considered material. Okay. So when it is disclosed when it is material. Anything which is material is to be disclosed. So is that clear to you, Varsha? Yes, Varsha, please tell me, is the point clear to you? You were asking about option D. Now question number 5. Now, this is an application based question. Guys, we had learned that knowledge of business, gaining knowledge of business, कि वो उसका business क्या है, what he is doing, what are the laws applicable to the company, what is its capital structure, whether it is debt financed or what is its what are its performance indicators. Okay, so question is CAX is trying to gain knowledge about the business of the company. Which of the following is a likely correct procedure in this regard? Now, to obtain business knowledge of the company, what he should do out of these 4 things? What is the correct procedure? Slightly tricky, slightly above your level of knowledge, slightly tricky. Yes. Now let us see who has answered it correctly. Singh, Rajiv Kumar, Tanisha, Lavyas, Himanshu, Darshan. What about others? Yes. ये आप ये देखिए स्टूडेंट्स, क्या one by one we'll see all the options and try to eliminate. Attending physical inventory count of the company. The auditor, the physical verification of company stocks are being carried out and auditor attends. ठीक है, तो क्या आपको जो ऑप्शन देनी होती है एमसीक्यू में मोस्ट अप्रोप्रिएट ऑप्शन देनी होती है, तो क्या वो उसके नॉलेज ऑफ बिजनेस गेन करने के लिए जरूरी है कि वो उसकी इन्वेंट्री काउंटिंग अटेंड करे? उसको ये कहीं से भी पता चल सकता है कंपनी क्या डील कर रही है, उसके लिए क्या ये जरूरी है? वेदर इट इज द करेक्ट प्रोसीजर, और ये प्रोसीजर तब चाहिए कि इन्वेंट्री में कोई मिस स्टेटमेंट ना हो. टेल मी. सो दिस प्रोसीजर वुड बी रिक्वायर्ड when he would be performing tests of details, when he would be performing procedures to ensure that there are no misstatements in inventories, कि जो उसका प्रोसेस है कंपनी का इन्वेंट्री चेक करने का, वेरीफाई करने का, whether it is proper or not, इन्वेंट्रीज की एग्जिस्टेंस है, द इन्वेंट्रीज आर प्रेजेंट देयर, व्हाट इज देयर कंडीशन. सो इसका नॉलेज ऑफ बिजनेस से क्या रिलेशन है स्टूडेंट्स? टेल मी. ट्रेसिंग अमाउंट रिफ्लेक्टेड इन फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स टू बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स. जो बैलेंस शीट में फिगर्स आ रही हैं उसको बुक्स में रिलेट करने से कि मिस्टर एक्स का बैलेंस 5 लाख रुपीज है और बुक्स में भी 5 लाख रुपीज है. ओके, तो क्या उससे उसको नॉलेज ऑफ बिजनेस मिल जाएगी? वेरीफाइंग बैंक रिकंसिलिएशन स्टेटमेंट, this is also ruled out. By verifying bank reconciliation statements, whether he would gain knowledge of the business that these checks were presented, were not presented for payment, these were issued but not presented for payment, or these checks have been deposited into the bank but not credited in the bank as on last date. So whether he would get the knowledge of the business. So this is also incorrect. So what is the remaining option? Remaining option is, if he performs a net search to see whether there is an adverse report in the press, so he might gain a knowledge that there might be what the company is doing, and whether there are any adverse reports, media reports relating to it, which might enhance the risk of material misstatements. Okay, he might come to know something which may change his perception about the company. Okay, so this is not the only thing, but out of these four options, so guys, you have to, it is, again I am saying, it is not the only thing. वो नॉलेज ऑफ बिजनेस गेन करने के लिए कंपनी का प्रोफाइल मंगवाएगा, कंपनी के मेमोरेंडम चेक करेगा, कंपनी की फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट चेक करेगा, रेटिंग एजेंसीज की रिपोर्ट्स चेक करेगा, कंपनी का डेट स्ट्रक्चर कैसा है वो देखेगा, वो इंटरनेट सर्च भी परफॉर्म कर सकता है. सो इट इज नॉट द ओनली थिंग बाय विच ही कैन गैदर द knowledge about the business, but it can be the procedure to gain knowledge about the business of the company. Okay, it can be. So out of all the four options, you have to say which option is correct. Okay, yes, internet reports are not authentic reports. Even press reports are not authentic. जो अखबारों में खबरें छपती हैं, क्या वो सारी सच्ची होती हैं स्टूडेंट्स? नहीं, these are not authentic. कोई, but since these are news, these have come in the press, so it gives a perspective that these things can happen, that there is a chance of this risk happening. This is what we are trying to say. So have you understood, Shazia? Yes, Shazia. And have you understood Muhammad Aslam and Love Vyas? So the point is not that whether this thing is correct or not. So keeping in view all the four options, you have to give the best option, the most appropriate option. इनमें से तीन ऑप्शंस का तो नॉलेज ऑफ बिजनेस से कोई रिलेशन नहीं है, कि उसको नॉलेज गेन करने के लिए ये तीन चीजें करनी पड़ेंगी, लेकिन फोर्थ का रिलेशन हो सकता है. ओके, is that clear? I think is this point clear to you? Yes, guys. So guys, I hope that you have found this question answers MCQs informative and friendly, and these might have helped you in enhancing your understanding. So our purpose is always to increase your level of understanding. Okay. Okay, so it is all for tonight. So next chapter, chapter 3, audit documentation and audit evidence will be taken up by CA Nancy Singla. So she will be teaching you all the nitty-gritties about audit documentation and audit evidence. So good night, guys, and hope to see you again soon. Okay, thank you. Thank you, guys.